So I want to tell you about 4 projects we have for 2020, and then how I'm hoping that some of you can help out. And so this is going to involve something that we haven't done in many years, which is actually raising money for projects. So this is called our Accelerator program. So let me pull this up. So the idea of the Accelerator program was, just a little bit of background on Center for Industrial Progress and how it works. The original conception, or at least pretty early on when I was deciding, okay, I was really thinking about how can I really help clarify energy and environmental issues and also other industrial issues, but mainly I've been focused on energy. Like, what's an efficient business model to do that? And I had a lot of reluctance to be a nonprofit, because then your primary customer is the donor and it's very hard to be connected with what's actually creating value. So I decided I think we should be primarily for profit, because we can write books and give speeches and deliver consulting, and that will really allow us to be focused on creating value. And that's a good way of making an impact in the world. And I still definitely believe that. I think being a for-profit business has been incredibly helpful in terms of just creating a lot of value and having a lot of influence. But at certain points in that progression, what we found is, hey, there are things we can do to accelerate our progress at promoting our ideas that aren't necessarily profitable for us as a business right now, but that could have a big impact. And maybe there are people who love our work who want to support it. So for example, and this is why we started the idea of becoming an accelerator. So I just have a list here of, historically, accelerators helped finance my first public debate ever against Greenpeace. Fun fact, Don was my first debate partner, and he actually killed me in that debate, which was very disconcerting at the time, but fortunately it prepared me for the real one. My debate with Bill McKibben, some of the crashing of anti-fossil fuel protests. We have given out thousands of copies of The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels to students and teachers. And also we got marketing support on The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels that helped to become a New York Times bestseller. And I think one of the most influential energy books of the last decade. So there have been these situations where, other people who really believed in what we're doing, they could see it scale more. They wanted to see it scale more. And it didn't necessarily make sense for us as a business, since we might not have the money to invest in it. But if others could help us invest, then it would help achieve their goals, and it would also help achieve our goals. And so this year we have 4 projects where we could really use that help. And then in particular, we could use that help a lot because of the current financial situation, largely in light of COVID-19, but also the energy industry is particularly suffering. So the big projects are, and you can see them on the screen if you are interested, but I'll describe them. So one is on political messaging. We want to provide revolutionary energy and environmental messaging for pro-freedom political candidates. There are lots of candidates at the state level, at the national level that we've talked to. They would love to support energy freedom. They don't have a large budget. Some of them have no budget now, particularly with the crisis. It's hard to get contributions, but they would really use the right messaging. And so I would really like to be able to pay for the team, including these other guys on the call, and other people, so to help us create really great messaging for them, so that pro-energy messages and policies have a greater chance of winning out. The second thing is national media presence. I've been a little bit behind the scenes in the past few years. I think it's really important to get out there and debate with people, to speak, to go on shows that are trying to attack me, so I can really show that energy freedom is good, that fossil fuels are good, that policies like the Green New Deal are ultimately anti-human. Telling the truth, I just think I as an individual can do a lot, but that requires a lot of time, and it requires some expertise. So we're working with getting a top TV booker and some other people to really help me speak out about these issues on a national level. And I should say, with all of these, by the way, 2 things about the Accelerator program that are going to apply to this and apply to everything else. So for the Accelerator program, none of the money goes to me personally or goes to overheads. This is not like you're donating to Alex and then Alex gets to live in a nicer house or something like that. I use this money. I mean, the 2 purposes are research and development. So to develop better stuff long-term, and then also for promotion to spread the ideas wider. And the primary thing we're paying for is to put together the team, both our internal team members, but also really high level external people to do that. So when you're giving Accelerator contributions, again, it's not to me personally, it's not to overhead, it's directly to these very high leverage people to accomplish these high leverage goals. So the third one, and this one is, we'll have to replace it with something else if the COVID stuff continues too badly, but is speaking and debating it at leading universities. The nation's universities are right now a hub of just anti-fossil fuel activism. I had a lot of success last year speaking at a couple high-profile universities, but I really want to take on all comers this year, tape these things, live stream them, promote them, because I am so confident that I'm right about this, that the world needs more fossil fuels, not less. I don't think anyone at this point can really refute that case, but we need to get that case spread. And so by supporting these kinds of efforts, you can really make that happen. One more thing I should say about the Accelerator program and our efforts in general is that becoming an accelerator, you'll see there are some really cool rewards associated. But one reward you do not get and that nobody gets is to in any way dictate our policy. So it's not that like, oh, you become an accelerator and you get to say, oh, here's what you should say about coal or here's what you should say about gas. No, nobody has that kind of influence at all. I don't think anyone has even asked for it, but just so you know, so we're not bought or something like that. And we set things up so that we don't need the contributions to exist. They accelerate us so that even like nobody can have the pressure where, oh, if we pull the plug, then you die. So it's just really important for other people to know that. But also if you were thinking, oh, I can manipulate you guys into promoting my position if I give you money. No, if you believe in what we believe and what we're doing based on our track record and what we say, then you should definitely accelerate if you have the means to. And then the final one is the moral case for fossil fuels 2.0. And there are a bunch of aspects of this. So many of you know I've been working on this project for a long time, longer than I expected, probably longer than you expected. And the reason is because I found that with the moral case for fossil fuels original one, that was an incredibly good use of my time. It's influenced thousands, I think ultimately hundreds of thousands, arguably millions of people. And I always think every minute I spent on making that thing effective was really worth it. Well, it's been 5+ years since then. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about how to frame arguments. I've learned a lot about the facts. I've learned a lot about how to tell stories. I've learned a lot about how to simplify arguments, make them more retainable. And so what I'm thinking, this is supposed to be the ultimate explanation machine to explain to people why fossil fuels or hydrocarbons are crucial for the future of human flourishing. So we're investing a lot of time, a lot of money, including bringing in some amazing experts to just create the best possible product, because as good as the original moral case for fossil fuels was at influencing people, like it wasn't nearly good enough. We have not influenced nearly enough people, but I believe with a book that's 5 times more effective, we can really change the game. At the same time, so that's expected to come out next year. We definitely finish it this year, and your acceleration helps with that. But we're also going to create a moral case for fossil fuels in 2020 essay that's directly focused on the 2020 elections. And you're seeing today with COVID that the right essay at the right time can have a profound impact. So that's another thing we want to focus resources on. So those are the 4 big projects. At some point, who knows, this COVID thing may be another project, but these are integrated projects to just really impact the energy policy debate in this crucial year. And I know it's a very difficult time for everybody, so I have no hard feelings at all if you're unable to contribute. But for those of you who are able to contribute, I just want you to think that this is a really decisive year. Some of the worst energy policies ever proposed are on the table. The fossil fuel industry is just totally under siege, and there are very few people who can tell the truth about this. And you should not just, you should care about this if you're in the fossil fuel industry, but you should care about this just if you're an American or if you're a citizen in the world, because these bad policies would be really bad. But if we continue to have generally good energy policies and we improve them, that's going to make life better for billions of people. That's going to lead to a continuation of the progress that just makes every year overall better than the last. Or even when we have a down year like we seem to this year, at least we have a lot of sort of reserve ability to survive. So that's the impact that we want to make. And just a couple of quick notes about the different rewards, I'll just run through them quickly. So there's a whole bunch of different levels of this, and then you can also give custom contributions. And by the way, the website is industrialprogress.com/accelerate, industrialprogress.com/accelerate. So I'll just run you through them quickly. I mean, it just ranges from, if you want the I Love Fossil Fuels pin, which you may have seen me wear, you'll get 5 of those when you contribute $25. $50, a signed and personalized copy of the moral case for fossil fuels. $100, any energy or environmental question you can get answered by Don and Stefan, the CIP research team. If you're a $250 accelerator, you can get any question answered by me on Power Hour or the Human Flourishing Project. And now these other ones are at the higher levels. What we're really doing is, if you contribute at these levels, what we're actually offering is, it amounts to like significantly discounted prices on what we would normally charge. And so part of the reason is we want to encourage you to do this, but also part of the reason is that we're at a very abnormal time in terms of our business, because so much of how historically we've supported our projects and our ambitions is through public speaking and doing high paid public speaking. My usual rate is 22,000 plus 1,500 expenses. Like, people will pay, and they think it's really valuable, and we're glad they do. Like $23,500 to bring me in to speak. Well, COVID, there's no more speaking, so that means hundreds of thousands of dollars, that we would normally get and be able to put toward these projects, we're not getting. So I believe in adapting to changing conditions, not just saying, well, I wish it were the same way. Think about, how do we make it worth people's while? So one thing to make it worth people's while is just to see, okay, now if you contribute to our accelerator program, then you can get, and so there are a couple of things. There are some things you can do virtually now. So if you're $1,000 accelerator, you'll get a 1-hour coaching or consulting call with me, and that can be any topic. And that's usually something that we charge $3,000 for. A virtual speech and extended Q&A, that's something we usually charge $5,000 for. You can get that for $2,500 contribution. And then a live speech, you might say, well, I don't want that. But what we're basically saying is that if you contribute $10,000, then at any point in the next 2 years, anywhere you want me to speak, I will be there. I'll pay to be there. You just pay the $10,000. So it's a very significant discount. I hope that the rate doesn't go that low ever in the future once things resume. But if you really, if you value our mission and you think you might want to have me speak at some place in the future, then this could be a great option. If you value our mission, you don't have a place for me to speak, we'll pick a place for you, whether it's a leading university or an organization of your choice. And then finally, you can contribute more than this, but at the $25,000 level, you get, as your reward for that, an all-day consulting session, and that can be any topic. It can also be a coaching session. We'd have to discuss the specifics of that in terms of what you want. It could be multiple speeches to different groups. If you want any details on any of this, it's alex@alexepstein.com, and feel free to ask me. Just a couple of points of fine print. So that I guess I should just say again, industrialprogress.com/accelerate is the website. So that contributions to us are not tax deductible for a whole bunch of reasons. I think we are much more effective with money, even if you account for non-tax deductible ability, than most nonprofits. You'll have to judge that for yourself, but just so you don't get, in trouble with the IRS, you don't get any tax deductions. So I want to make that clear. Also, if you happen to want one of the rewards at a lower level, feel free to ask for that. Each of these rewards goes with just the dollar amount that you contribute. It's not one of those things where you get all the rewards below. So if you want a different reward, then you can just separately contribute that amount, or you can always ask for a lower reward. Just want to make sure that we're totally transparent with you. So again, I think that I know that for everybody, this is a really hard time. If you never give us a dime, but I'm just always so grateful for the amount of support that we get. And I love receiving your emails, even if I'm not always the best at responding. But I know that there are people in this audience who have had a lot of success and who are still, I know I can't say anything about anyone's position, but this is something, certainly that we believe in, that we invest our time in. And if you really believe in what we do and really want to see this scale, at the right time, at this crucial time, again, when the industry is under siege, when there are so few defenders, when there are people out there, politicians who want to support the industry but can't. If you want to see more of that, I think this is a great investment, and I hope the rewards make it that much more worthwhile. So once again, go to industrialprogress.com/accelerate.